the energy of these events is so great. Like, I feel like I got here first yesterday, so I'm looking around, and then Lawrence gets here, and we start chatting, and immediately we just went deep. Just immediately we're already, and I'm like thinking, geez, this is so much. And then we smoke a joint, and then we just got even more deep. And that's, I love that kind of stuff because I feel like I've already taken away like as much value as I was like hoping to take from these events. Like on the plane ride over, I was thinking, what do I want to take away from this weekend? And really it's about the mindset shift of accepting that mistakes will happen, but also finding more confidence to exploit my winners. And I feel like that's something Tom Hugard is really going to touch a lot on. And yeah, I don't know. Dinner last night was great. What are you guys thinking about already?
First of all, we're in a really nice Airbnb, and I'm pretty stoked about that. um, but yeah, these events are amazing. I think I always fall back to, and I've said it before, but like finding friends in the trading space. And I do feel very lucky to have found that. And you know, like sometimes you do have to pay for them. And essentially, I paid to be in a coaching group where I met you guys. I paid to come to an event in LA last year where I met you in person. Then I paid for another event. I paid for another event. And so we've hung out now multiple times, and that's helped create our friendship and then helped create this podcast. So, paying for your community in trading is a thing, and it's worth every penny.
Almost half my business expenses this year are just travel to see us, like that's half my business expenses, but it's also like I don't really have friends outside of it. So it's like, okay, I spend a few $1,000 on my friends that year, and like that's so awesome. And like there's something so like just this morning when I woke up, I was sleeping on that couch, woke up, heard you guys trading out there, and immediately I'm just ready to go. I was ready to go out there, and Lawrence was going over his whole checklist, how he's just like, I check off these boxes, I take my trade, and that's it. Like how much more simple could it get? And there's just something about the energy of being with people that gives me so much confidence that I will make this work. Where when I am at home, I don't always feel that way. And like these events are really the thing that like keep me going. And I guess that's like the first lesson of this podcast is, paying for your friends is worth it.
Paying for your friends. Yeah, these trading events are great. Last year, I think I did. How many did we do last year? 4? 3. And then I took the summer off. And this year is going to be 2. So I'm kind of like, okay. But we've been talking about like in the podcast, like if we happen to ever bring in any kind of money from our podcast, which I mean, it's not our goal, but if that happens someday, we're going to spend it on travel to hang out with each other. That's all we're going to spend it on, because that would be like the perfect outcome of that, I think.
No, I think it's crazy like how this has come full circle.
Yeah.
Like it's a year today, because you flew in on your birthday, right? Last year.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? So, and it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Christine.
Thank you.
We're filming our...
Thank you.
We don't know what number
23rd,
episode.
23rd.
Yeah, we can call this 23, 24.
Either way, it's our 23rd episode. No, 24th. 24th.
Yeah, so and we're filming, and here we are filming an episode. It's Christine's birthday. We're at an Airbnb in LA. We woke up this morning. We all said yesterday that no one was probably going to trade. Everybody got
Bullshit.
up. Yeah, everybody got up this morning, and we're all trading, and it was cool because like where I have my computer set up, it's in the office, kind of away from everybody, just because I didn't want to steal all the real estate. Mm-hmm. And I was able to get up mid trade and walk out of my office and see my friends at a table trading, and just like walk around and be like, not have to be glued to my screen, and then get to talk trading and what is everybody's thesis or what are people looking at. And Austin's short, I'm short, Lawrence is long. Like it's just the dynamic, and not even the trading part, but the aspect of just being with friends. Mm-hmm. And we're in our sweats, and you know what I mean? We all just woke up, and it's like there's no pretentiousness or even like judging or anything. It's just like us hanging out, having a coffee. Like it's just this doing the Airbnb thing, because every other event we stayed in hotels. This is like the next level of, I think, of our friendship. And obviously I'm living in Mexico beside Christine. We see each other every morning on screen, but it's like having this, like waking up in the same room and, hanging out, and we got a whole bunch of stuff planned for the next 48 hours and then we go back home. But it's like, it's cool. Like I went to bed last night a little bit lonely. I'm missing Mexico and Hillary and Miles. And I woke up this morning and just to see everybody's faces was like, that was gone. And it was like, you can feel the love in the room, I guess. I don't know how you want to say it. Like, it's just chill.
Yeah.
Like everybody's having a good time. Like we just hanging.
I know. And it's like, you really have to find the right group too, because I don't know how to describe it. Like, this is just, it feels natural. It ended up
Well, literally,
becoming
in a
something,
few hours, there's going to be a bunch of other bodies in this house. And it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic, because we know our dynamic, and it's like trading can be cliquey, and we know this, and we are kind of our own little clique, and like we've met all these other new people. So it's cool to now, like, we get to take what we have and then invite other people over into our dynamic, and then just create now even a bigger dynamic. And who knows, maybe next year we're going to be staying in an Airbnb with 20 people, right? Like,
Yeah, and I do think that there's, like, if you're someone listening and you're like, oh, I want that, there's a lot of options. And like, we talk about a few of them, and I'll plug them because they've been guests on our show, and I think we should give them the love back. But like, we all met the BSC, Austin's group. That's an amazing coaching group. And if you're looking for like a tight knit community, go in there. Strong Trading, that's another. It's a newer one. It's not, you can go in, the price is less than the BSC. So if your budget is smaller, that's a great one. And you can just start getting connected to these people. And both of those coaching groups are going to have an event coming up this year in May. So like, if you want to follow the steps that we did to create this clique, I've just laid it out for you. Join one of these two groups, come to the event in May, and then start your own like click with people, because you will find people that you're going to connect with, and you can start talking to them daily so that you can be less lonely on the desk, so that you're not just by yourself, because when you're by yourself, things go crazy.
And there's also like, you have to be willing to move on from people too. Like my first trading buddy met in London, and we both were progressing together, but then at some point I was progressing faster and felt like I wasn't taking his advice, I wasn't listening, and it's like, okay, that's when I knew I just drop it and move on. And that's the thing about these trading events, is like, I've met so many people from so many different communities that I'm in cahoots with from one trading event, that like, even if you're not sold on ASFX or whatever, like the event as a whole is still worth going to, because and this is not a sales pitch. Like, I don't get nothing from this. Like,
We are not affiliates.
We started this podcast because we just wanted to talk about our experience, because I feel like I have a above average experience than the normal trader. I feel like in the 2 years that I have been really actively focused on trading, I have gotten a lot farther than most people get, and all of us. And so I feel like there is some value for the person who's just starting, or even like a year in and still wondering, because getting in a room with Lawrence, who's had 5-figure months, and being able to talk with him, and then him reinforcing that my point is really fucking good, is like, damn, like I am on the right path. And like, it just takes longer than expected, and having these people around just really push you to continue and like see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And to add to that, like, I want to, and I keep people like DM me and say the event coming up in Tampa and this, and I just tell people, like, get out of that comfort zone. And again, when you do meet someone in the space, it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, be open.
Almost you have to be.
You have to be, because then you'll connect with those people and relate to them, versus we've had people come through the BSE that we thought we had relationships with but didn't really connect with them, and they literally come and go. And whether they continue
Literally
to
ghost you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just met
And
you
owe
at
you
an
money.
event,
Like-
and now you're not going to talk to me. I've talked to you for a year online, and then you're fucking going to ghost me. I won't call out names, but there's a few of you, and you know who you are.
Right, but it's like where we have just opened up with each other and like honestly be who we are and like me personally, I have changed as a human having, you guys in my life. And literally it was one by chance Googling day trading in podcasts, and Austin's podcast came up, and a phone call to I want to trade Forex. And Austin's like, we don't trade Forex anymore, we trade futures. And literally that one phone call changed my life. And people will look and not realize that going to an event and meeting not even Tanner or Austin or somebody in the panel, meeting the person beside them and just connecting with them for just that brief moment, like, will change your life. Because now it's like you're doing something together, and it's not like this whole lonely thing of trading by yourselves, which we all know.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're trading by yourself, the internet and trading books and trading gurus tell you, like, don't change. And, like, stay consistent doing what you're doing, because when you change, that's when you cause problems. But then, for me, like, that was a mindset that I feel like I've been plagued by too much. And it's, like, hurt me more than helped me in the long run to not be more fluid and change. And then when you go get in these rooms and talk to people who are just regular people doing the same thing, you realize how much change actually occurs, how much testing needs to happen, how it's just not a linear line. And I feel like these events have really opened my eyes to, like, being more open to change of my strategy, of how what's working for me in the market. And, like, I just wanted, like, I opened a cash account yesterday or the other day, and I'm like, I remember David told me at the last event, he said, whatever you do it for 6 months and don't change it. I didn't follow that. I tried to follow that advice, but in the process, I didn't follow that advice. And I've just been thinking a lot about, like, gambling. I've been thinking a lot about gambling and EV, and I'm ready for a cash account right now more than I am a prop account. And there's always been that desire inside to just trade the cash account and not feel the FOMO. And, like, even though I'm in a room with everybody who's trading prop accounts, I feel no FOMO. I don't care, and I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing. And that's where it's like I feel great in that moment, in this moment.
And to quickly just go on and just touch on one thing Thomas said is all three of us started our journey together, basically. And I feel like we spent maybe 6 months or longer forcing ourselves to trade a certain way. And all three of us were like, this is the way we're going to trade. We're going to use, strictly VWAP or whatever it was that we were, all learning at the same time. And now, a year and a half later, all three of us have completely different styles of trading.
Yeah,
Like,
completely.
It's completely different. What we spent a whole 6 months, if not a year, trying to put ourselves into something and be like, this has to be it. And then finally, like, releasing and letting go and being, Christine's trying her things, Thomas trying his thing, and I'm doing my thing. And it's just like, we find our groove, and it just kind of, like, I don't know, like, opens up that, like Thomas is saying, just being more fluid and open to things and not just, like, being so rigid. I think that was hurt me for a long time, was just being so rigid, and then using the excuse, not even excuse, I shouldn't say that's a bad word, but using the, I'm so rigid, I'm so disciplined, I'm doing it. I'm going to win. And for me personally, that doesn't work. Like, I just need to do what I'm good at. And I think a lot of people put themselves like, I got to do this. I can't strategy hop. Well, you can't change strategies weekly. That's strategy hopping. But
I think there's a couple things, because I wanted to touch on one point Thomas said. I think in the business world, and of course there's a saying that goes with it that I'm not going to say right, but basically the most successful are the most flexible. And we don't use that in trading as much because we're trying to avoid the strategy hoppers. But if something's not working for you, in the business world, you wouldn't just say, well, double down on your losing efforts. You'd be like, no, how can you change this? How can you make this better? So maybe sometimes we need to bring in that mentality into our trading life a little bit without going overboard. Then the other thing is, when you, like, let's say you join one of these coaching groups and you find a mentor, it makes sense to learn that mentor's strategy. It's like, that's how you're going to get the most value out of that. But you know the saying when you first get into trading and people always tell you, okay, you're going to learn a strategy, but then you're going to make it your own. And you're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? How do I make this my own? Like, I think that that's one thing that we've all learned is we've figured out how to make something our own. And I've really seen that now, even like the last few months. It's like, no, I don't trade VWAP anymore like Austin. Austin's an amazing VWAP trader. I happen to not be an amazing VWAP trader, but still the knowledge of that strategy gives me so much value that I could have never moved on to the strategy that fits more my personality if I hadn't gone to the VWAP first, in my opinion, because I have a much broader view. Like I can look at a chart and I can see the VWAP trades. I'm not going to take them, but it helps me to be able to see them in some of my other trades. So I think it's the natural progression. Like you're not strategy hopping, you're just strategy evolving. And sometimes it's going to look different from the first strategy that you try.
Zach said it on our last podcast, and I keep like repeating it in my head, and I keep telling people, and he's like, when you have finally are able to read price action and you have an idea or a thesis or some sort of model, but you understand price action related to how you trade, that's when it's, and all three of us can know how to read price action. We just have a different model that we're looking at for something to be like, this is a level for me, this is a level for you, this is a level for you. But we understand price action. And I think people just be like, if we just trade VWAP, we're gonna, we're good. That's all I need to know. It doesn't work like that. Like when you find something, when you actually learn how to read price action and be like, the price is doing this, and you apply your knowledge, whatever you see, then that clarity really kicks in, and you're just like, oh shit, like I was fighting to not see this, but now I can see it. And it's, Thomas has had some just like killer trades where it's like I'm pulling profits and Thomas is like, nah, I'm holding till here, and his thesis is spot on. Like where before it would be like we're too far away from the our one thing, and we just don't look at the big picture. And I think all three of us now are really zooming out and being like, oh, like Christine asked me to pull up a 1 hour chart today. I don't even have a 1 hour chart saved on my thing. Like 30 minutes is the highest time frame I use, and I pulled it up, and then Christine's like, oh, look at this, and this, and I was like, holy shit, like it's interesting, you know what I mean? Where before it's like, no, I can only trade off the 1 minute, I can only do everything off the 1 minute. Okay, I have a 15 minute. Now it's like I have a 5 and a 15 and a 2 minute, which I use, and that's it. Like
the screen time. The screen time is like what I give all credit to being able to finally change the strategy, make it my own. It's like just hours and hours and hours of like seeing, and particularly the same asset. I don't think people talk
100%.
It used to get talked about. See, it's like everything comes in waves. We used to talk about only trading one asset. Now we're all just doing it, but we're not talking about it anymore. And I mean, I've even gone so far to kind of start to eliminate this like correlation thing. I think the correlation thing.
I love it.
I used to love it, and then it would just burn me, and then I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna trade the price action in front of me. But I know there's plenty of people who have their whole strategy based off the diversions and whatnot. But screen time is it. Like just get yourself in front of the desk for the same time every day. Watch it.
Screen time is so underrated. And I feel like as a new trader, if you can drill one thing into your head as a new trader, know this: you need massive amounts of screen time. Massive
not trading,
amounts.
But not trading, screen time.
All of it.
Yeah, and how much
trading,
time are you guys
watching anything? Like
But I think people could take that as like, okay, I'm gonna sit in front of the screen for 6 hours and take every trade.
I don't care what it is. Screen time is screen time. You can be sitting and taking 60, 100, that's not a number,
Or even just
600
watching.
trades, and that's still screen time. No, I'm not suggesting that. But I'm just saying.
You guys heard that, right? She's not suggesting it.
What you're sitting at home worrying about is the dollar money, the dollar value of what you're making. You're worried about your payout. You're worried about what you're going to make this month, how much money you can make a day. And I'm talking to the people who haven't made any money. And I know this because I've worried about those things. When I first started, I had a little sheet on my wall that says my goal is to make $100 a day. Like that would be amazing. My goal is bigger now, PS, but I'm not as obsessed with that goal. I don't have it on my wall saying I want to make a certain amount of money a day because first of all, that's unrealistic in trading. You're never going to make the exact amount of money each day like that. But second, you should not be concerned with the amount of money you're making. You should be concerned with the time that it's going to take from point A to point B, and that's going to be a shitload of screen time.
David just said he was like he spent from 2016 to 2020 watching screens with a $2,000 account. 4 years. How many people are willing to give 4 years to a $2,000 account watching screens for 16 hours a day.
Not many.
And I think that I no longer need like this long amount of screen time. And what I want to ask you guys is like, I spend 6:30 to 9 o'clock on the desk screen time, then I take a break, and then I spend the next 3 hours thinking about trading. Like and I'm processing what happened. I'm thinking about myself because I feel like the self-introspection plays a large part in like, especially for me as like a 24-year-old, understanding that mistakes should not be met with self-criticism. Mistakes should be met with what's the feedback loop? What am I taking?
What am I learning?
Yeah, but immediately that's not what our body's instinctual thing is to do. My body, at least, it instinctually goes into fuck or shit. What'd you do wrong?
But I think we need to make an important distinction. A mistake is not a loss on a trade, and I learned this recently. Okay? Because every loss I was taking, I'd say, oh, what could I have done better? Guess what? Because you're trading a probability-based strategy, your losses does not mean that you made a mistake.
Lawrence told me yesterday.
Yes.
He said, sometimes I show up and I say, I'm trying to lose today. I'm trying to hit a loser. So then if you win, it's like, okay. But if you lose, it's like,
You can't win 100% of the time, right?
So he was showing us his entry model today. And I guess I'm not totally clear on it, but because he took a long and loss, and that was his entry model. And I asked him, so are you playbooking the shorts today or not? Because is that even your entry model? And to me, it sounded more like no. I didn't have a valid entry model for short today. My only entry model was long. So the loss was the proper decision to make regardless.
Exactly. And therefore you're not doing your report card at the end of the day saying this is how I could have made this better. This is and it's a good term to say, it's what I've learned from strong coaching, a probability-based loss. And that is a good loss. There is nowhere on your DRC that you need to say, oh, I could have did this better, or I should have done this. This is how I could have made this a winner, because you actually can't. If you have a strategy that your win rate is 70%, 30% of the time you are going to take losses, and does not mean you made a mistake. However, there are times when we do make mistakes. Maybe we don't enter on our entry model, or maybe we cut our trade before we're actually supposed to. Those are mistakes you should be looking at, and you should be writing down and like getting better at.
Exactly.
Lower day break.
Yes.
Lower day break.
Entry on lower day break. Sure,
I know.
big one.
I wrote it down. I want to talk about your entries at the bottom of the range and
Why are you
keep
taking
doing
those?
them. It's like a therapy session. Why?
I think there's a part of me that the dopamine kicks in of the slide or the pump. It's mainly a slide because it's usually
Only the short side.
Yeah, like I used to take the higher days, but that was, I think that I feel like those are very far and few in between.
Why'd you stop taking the highs, but you take the lows?
Because this is where I think a lot of people struggle with, and I still obviously clearly struggle with it. I did it last week. Is there's something about short selling, and there's something about adrenaline and dopamine when it's the whole escalator stairs up, elevator down. When you can move 5 to 10 points like that on a break of a level on a short, they just happen so much faster
It's
than
the
longs.
easy money when it
Yeah,
hits.
easy.
It's the easy money.
Path to least resistance, most exciting. It feeds everything that you shouldn't be feeding when it comes to trading.
And where you're not going to buy it. You're not going to buy it there, so what else do you do?
Where now it's like I forgot who said it. One of these traders, like that's the meme that goes around. Like he's a really well-known trader, but he's buying where we put our stops.
That's
So
what
when
Dr. David Paul says.
Is that yeah?
He's
So it's
Dr.
like
David Paul, yeah.
he's like where your stop is. That's where
Yeah.
I'm entering my position, and it's like where here we are, right? And it's that psychology. And again, we're retail traders. We're new to trading. We're going to develop these, it's about getting rid of these bad habits, and I'm really working on them. I'm doing quite well, but again, thanks to having people like Christine and Thomas in my corner, I would be probably taking those lower day breaks a lot more, right? So again, the importance of having, trading friends and
Yeah, because you get rewarded sometimes for the mistakes, and then
Who
that's what feeds it.
Someone in our on stream the other day, I think Christine, if you remember, was in the chat. Was we were talking about how to manage my trade when I added into that position, and Thomas said either get out it because it got back to my entry price. I added in. Luckily, I didn't get blown. I almost got blown out because I had too much size on it. And Thomas is like, I'm like, what do I do here? Do I take half that? Do I take that size off that I added into the trade and go back to my original size because I'm now at entry? It won't hurt. Or do I stick in the trade or do I close it? And Thomas said, either close the trade or stick through the idea. And then somebody in the chat said, and it was not, after I had to put it in, like, explain it that it's not what but he said, and the other thing is, like Thomas saying, I think when you take a low a day break for me and get rewarded for that bad execution or poor trade in a matter of seconds, it just reinforces something in your brain that I can do this again.
Of course.
I know it's a shitty idea, but the shitty idea worked, and it worked super fast, so I could be in and out of this trade in a minute. Like,
It's Tom Hogarth that talks about this in his book, right?
It 100% it. I mean, Tom Hugard is probably more in favor of you selling it than, or I mean, for sure, he's in more favor of selling it than buying it. But it's just about the long term, because those are the trades that you enter and you get stopped out in 4 minutes and you tilt, or at least I tilt. Because I went back and I looked at my worst entries, it's selling at low of day. Those are the ones that would throw me on tilt. My worst trade setup as a whole, which I remind myself of every morning, is price breaks out of opening range, retests opening range, I sell it with no low of day break confirmation, and my stop is in the middle of the opening range. And I take a loss on that trade, I get back in the short, and I take another loss. And I took 2 losses on one trade idea that maybe didn't even present yet. But finish what you were saying about the guy in the comment.
oh, and so he was just, I think it was Will or Daniel, but basically just said how his opinion looking at my trade was like, you should probably close it or just get out of the position if you're back at break even, because now you're going to get rewarded if this plays out. And I had to explain to him that, like, my idea is still valid. The issue was I added in early instead of waiting for my confirmation. Because when the price came back to entry, if I hadn't added in 110%, I would have added in.
I feel like the point where I'm at in my trading is defining exactly what the right decisions are, because at a certain level, we've all made every decision and we've been rewarded for every decision. So then it's all about the data and being able to decide, okay, this is actually the right decision. And I feel like that's how Lawrence talks about, you're accumulating knowledge. You're accumulating knowledge, but you're also losing money. Those meet when you realize what are the right decisions and the wrong decisions.
I've had that recently. Recently, I moved my stop to break even on a trade, and it stopped me out probably to a tick and then went to my full TP. And I'm trying to figure out, was that the right decision or was it not? Because if I, over the long term, continue to move my stop to break even at a certain point, will I save myself from unnecessary losses? That's the idea, right? Will I stop myself, or will I stop myself from getting my full trade thesis out? So I really do need to start accumulating that data of what my moving my stop. And I know this is a topic, some people don't like moving stop to break even. Like, I'm trying to figure that out essentially. And I think that's exactly what you basically said, is you're trying to figure out the right decision for your like full trade strategy. And you need to figure that out over a long period of time, because you need to be able to have the data and the statistics behind how that one decision affects your trade.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about, at what point in my trade do I say I'm 80% confident this trade is going to hit? Because at that point, I shouldn't need to lock my stop. I should feel comfortable leaving the trade, even if I did add in more size, because I have more confidence that the trade's going to hit. That's something I've been thinking about. Because Lawrence said he never locks his stop.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
I'm in the same boat, but I'm enjoying the opposite side of that conversation where I'm 100%, and I shouldn't say 100, let's just call it 90, because there's probably a part of my brain that doesn't like it. But I'm totally fine adding into a position and taking a small green on it or taking obviously more profit and being okay with it. Because I've had multiple trades now where I've added into the position. Now I'm into it heavy. As soon as it comes back into profit, or if I get a decent push into profit, I'll pull my stop half a point or one. I'll take something out of it, even if it's $10 on 20 micros. It still covers my commissions, and I'm okay with it. Because then I'll just look for that same setup again, hit it, and if now 2 out of 3 are break even and 1 is for profit, I'm shooting for, larger size, smaller point moves, that I'm still finishing my days with max profits, which I never did that before, because I was like 3 micros looking for my thesis, and when they play, they're beautiful. But I don't know if I like to be like, I'm on this like cusp of trading my strategy, but being a bit of a scalper in the process, if that makes sense. Just being aggressive with the profit
scalping
taking.
a portion of your thesis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being content with watching it go. I said to Christine, actually, because there was a beautiful trade, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I'm like, I just need to get to a point where I can hold on to these with this size. I'm not there yet.
Me fucking too.
I'm not there yet. And this morning I took 3 beautiful shorts, and the first one I took 5.5 points out of the short. I could have took it for 22 without even getting a lick of drawdown. So it's again, always adapting and learning and figuring out what works for you. And eventually I'll get to a place where I can hold on to 2 minis for, a 20-minute move and get that. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But that's where I think I'm starting to prepare my brain with the way I like to trade, and how, like Isaac said, you got to practice. I got to practice taking those small greens.
I think
and then
Tom will help with that.
Walking away from the chart with a small, and I'm okay with a small green, because I know that when I do hit with size, I'm gonna have a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 day.
And the thing is, you're doing that same thing over and over and over again. So really what you're doing is, let's say you do the same thing, 7 of these trades, you're going to get a small green, and the other 3, you're going to get a big green. And that big green makes up for all the others, because you're protecting yourself from loss. But you're planning this over a large amount of trades. But like you, Thomas, you're doing the exact same thing. You're practicing the same things in all of your trades by adding in, reducing your risk, even though maybe it gets you out of some trades a little early sometimes, but you're doing the same process.
I can go back in. So it's like, just because it gets me out doesn't mean I'm out for the count. I can still get back in.
And that's the beauty that I'm finding, like the way I'm trading now is like exactly like Thomas said, like if I bring my stop to break even, I get stopped out, and my idea is still valid, why can't I just get back in the trade?
Because of the fear.
Right? And it's getting over that fear. And it's like, no, you know what? Well, here, this is what I'm looking at again. I'll take another crack at this. And you can watch Tanner does it well with his sidewalk. Is he'll get in, I'm on the sidewalk, stopped out. He'll let it play out for a sec. He'll get in again on the sidewalk, stopped out. The third time, he gets in, and then, finally his liquidity sweep or whatever he was looking for is fully played out. But it's like, he has the confidence to take those 2 losses and then take the third win, because he knows his third win, he's going to add into the position. He's going to take it to his level where he ever wants to. His wins outsize those small reds, where it's like, I think once you let go of people, if you're a 1-hour trader and you trade great 1 hour, that's awesome. If you're a 2-to-1 trader and you 2-hour trader, that's awesome. If you're a 0.5 trader and you trade well, that's awesome. I think letting go of this whole concept of this is right, people still comment on our videos when we talk about stuff, and then comment even in my DMs and being like, I can't believe you took that trade, like you need to be going for 3R. And I was like, well, I don't need to be doing anything. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if I'm going to make money doing it, I'm going to make money doing it. I don't need you to tell me that I need to be a certain way. No.
There can be a right thing for one person, a
100%.
right thing for another person, and they can be the exact opposite things. They are both the right thing, but it's all individual. Like Thomas and I, are on the wrong side of our trades often now. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad trader. It doesn't mean that Thomas is a bad trader. It doesn't mean that he's looking at the market right and I'm looking at it wrong. It just means that we figured out what's right for us, and then we just have to keep doing that. And guess what? Both of us can be successful that way.
Yeah, and just to wrap it all up, because I hear people here.
We got to go hang out.
Just to finalize, the importance of self-awareness and reflection. Because when we talk about this whole break-even thing, why are we not entering? I know exactly why. When I take the trade, I'm expecting to lose. When it goes into profit and I lock the stop, I am safe. I am safe now from that loss. And getting back in means I have to be open to a loss on a trade that was already maybe showing me it didn't want to win. And that's difficult for me to do at this current moment. But it's the self-awareness that now next time that happens, I'll push myself to get in with small size. And I'll just push myself because that's what trading's all about.
Yeah, what did my husband post the other day?
I actually reposted it yesterday, and like I'm gonna like live by these words. Either take the risk or go work for someone that fucking did. Right? So it's like that's trading 101.
Wow.
Either you take that risk or you
go
can just
work
go work for
for
someone
someone
that
that
did. And clearly the three of us are not, we're taking that risk, right?
My resume is not prepared, so I'm not working for anybody.
You take
That's
that risk
great.
every day. So.
And that's why we come to these. This is the business.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so if you're listening, go take the risk.
Yeah.
Go take the risk because I know that y'all don't want to have to go work for someone else.
And I can tell you right now, even like just talking about risk, like there's multiple people that are going to be coming to Tampa. But if it's on your radar and it's, we're 7-8 months away and you have to just put a little bit away every day to save towards it, I think any struggling trader is the best investment. And Christine's husband says this all the time to me now, and I truly believe it. The best investment you can put in yourself is doing an event like that, and you'll realize trading is for me or it's not for me. And there's people that go to these events and they're probably like, this is not my jam. I don't need to force this. Where for me, it's like, it's so energizing and invigorating, and like you're just like reinforces like shit.
You want to go to the next one.
Yeah,
You're
like,
excited.
I'm ready for this, right? And it's not like the first time I went, I got wasted on the plane on the way there because I was so nervous to meet everybody. And then everybody bailed on dinner, and Christine and
I did not bail.
Jimi Hendrix were the only two.
I'm a diehard.
Only two that showed up, and I just got wasted through the night because I was so anxious. And it was like after I was like, I think the next event I obviously drank, but not nearly as much because I was so much more like I'm here for a reason, right? Where it's like you almost want it to be like, oh, we're going to party. Even last night, we were in bed at midnight, but we had handful, a couple drinks. Like
We had
shared
one bottle of
sake
sake.
at a
Yeah,
table.
at
One
a
bottle of
sushi
sake.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
you need to do that.
where people probably think, oh, we showed up at the Airbnb, cracked bottles, and stayed up till 6 a.m. Right? Where it's like, we're here to work. It's business. It's go time. we got a special guest. You guys
We're
can't see
ending
him on
the
the
pod.
camera.
Okay, thanks guys.